I would love to get your take on, how you guys at Glass House determined, what that brand portfolio would look like here with those 3 brands.
Yeah, so a great bunch of great questions embedded in there. And I certainly noticed your guys' report on the female Gen Z side of things, very much in line with our thinking. I think that market is over-indexes. I think it has amazing opportunities with cannabis, but I think very few people are actually speaking to it, right? And it's very canna curious. This is not their legacy user. That's not the folks who are typically, going to the doctor and telling them about their back hurting to get a medical card to go to a dispensary. It's this new people, and they're looking for direction, and that was the genesis of Forbidden Flowers, which is Bella Thorne is an authentic, real stoner. Like, I've hung out with her. She smokes way more than I do. She can roll a joint faster than I can. There is nothing greenwashing about Bella's endorsement and participation in Forbidden Flowers, and she has this awesome audience of that Gen Z female who's looking like, how do I integrate this, right? Like, I think part of the reason they over-index is because they've come of age when the stigma has started to go away, right? Like, they're not thinking, for a 20-year-old female, like, cannabis and alcohol are, like, the cannabis is probably more legal, right? Like, alcohol we know is 21 plus. If you got a medical card, cannabis can start at 18. So they have a very different perspective, and I think that's why you see them much more normalized with their usage. That said, they're looking for somebody to say, okay, well, I take this before I want to clean my house and get something done. I take this before I want to go on a hike. I take this if I partied too hard last night. This for yoga, right? And so Bella can be that voice and give them the guidance of, here's CBDs, here's indicas, here's sativas, here's how the different strains are going to happen, here's pre-rolls, and all that kind of stuff. And so I think we're really seeing great traction with that, and I think the demographics are in our favor, and I think Bella's in our favor, and she's awesome and really has an ownership of that. We're going to start doing some stuff with hemp over there as well, so that we can reach out into other states, which I think is going to be exciting, because she's got obviously a much broader voice than California. So I'm really excited about what we're doing on that. Glass House Farms is kind of our core flagship brand, so to speak. It's the very flower forward, product forward thing, and it really represents who we are as farmers. From the point of view that the focus on the plant and the strains and trying to go quality at a fantastic product at an amazing price is our goal. I sometimes describe it as, we want to be the Casamigos of cannabis for the Whole Foods buyer, right? So it's not necessarily 1942 where it's special occasion and you'd be crazy to put it in a margarita. It's certainly not Jose Cuervo, right, where it's it's caramel sugars and artificial stuff. It's just that always the right answer. It's a shot of tequila on a Friday, it's a margarita on a Tuesday, it's great for a party, it's great for a birthday. Doesn't have to be a special occasion though, right? So, and then for the Whole Food side is for somebody who cares about how the product was made, right? So natural, sun grown, partnered with Mother Nature, not throwing her away, and recreating the whole thing from a in a warehouse kind of thing, but a very natural way to achieve high quality is really what Glass House Farms is all about. It's bounces around and kind of the number 2, number 3 brand in the state of California, which is a big deal, as you guys know from the data, right? Like, California is the largest market in the world. It's probably 25% of the country. Flower is probably 51 to 55% of that market if you include pre-rolls. So being number 2 in 50% of 25% means that brand is like, whatever that is, 12% of the national market or something like that for the category if you put the math together. So it's a pretty significant thing. I really like our, we have a quality, consistency, and cost approach, which is first you got to do it great. Then you got to do it great every time. Then you got to do it great every time efficiently, which translates into value and cost for the consumer, right? So we're trying to bring $70 quality at $35 prices with Glass House, and I think that's I think it drives right down the middle, and it'll be a really good fit for the existing as well as for the new consumers who are coming. And then on Mama Sue Health and Wellness, I think obviously we led with medical in California, but just because it's medicine doesn't mean it can't be fun too, or just because it feels good doesn't mean it's not medicine, however you want to say it. And I think there's sometimes it's like recreational is not as good, but if you think about the word recreation, it's not actually as trivial as it sounds. That said, fun on a Friday night has no conflict with a tincture on a Tuesday night to help you sleep better, feel better, sore muscles after working out. And that's what Mama Sue is all about, is that kind of health and wellness, vitamins, anti-inflammatory, sleep and pain relief are the two main products in that. Mama Sue is awesome. She's a 70-year-old African-American woman, former Catholic school principal, who realized the benefits of cannabis and has become an advocate ever since. And we're really stoked to be partnered with her.
That's great, and a great background. And you mentioned authentic when you're talking about Bella Thorne, and it sounds like Mama Sue, very similar, just really believes in it. And I think that's an important piece. And people are pretty clever, the consumer is pretty clever, and they can see through, the people that are see those that aren't maybe not as authentic. And I think the celebrities or the notable individuals who are associated with brands that are authentic, that does seem to come through, and I think that translates into overall success. With Forbidden Flowers and Bella Thorne, celebrity brands have some advantages because marketing can be quite challenging. I mean, in California, what was it, just a couple weeks ago now, there's a ban on billboard displays on interstate freeways, no matter where they're at in the state, and hopefully we see this assembly bill come through and that gets changed, but just one more channel that is gone. And so, with a celebrity brand and someone like Bella Thorne, with probably a sizable social media presence, do you guys find that that's an advantage? Is that part of the brand strategy to generate awareness, to have her platform to talk about Glass House and
I think Flowers? She's definitely an influencer and a megaphone in the space. So from the point of view of getting the message out, that's a strength that she has. I think in general, the advertising, the stigma in cannabis is still thick. Even in California, where we're 26 years medically legal and, coming up on 4 years of adult use, like the stigma is still very thick. Why would you not be able to advertise a store, right? Like you can, it's like, it's kind of crazy, but that's where we are in it. Why can you get all kinds of advertisements for pharmaceuticals on Instagram, but you can't advertise a plant, right? Why is it that cannabis social media accounts are shut down every day, but porn accounts aren't, or whatever? Like, it is still something that we fight with, and the only way is, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice, as Martin Luther King Jr. says. So we're going in the right direction. It never feels like it's fast enough, but finding ways to reach consumers is very unique and challenging in cannabis. And I think it's part of the skill set. The opportunity is often, the challenge is often the opportunity, right? Like part of what we are developing that I think builds a moat around other industries coming into this is we're learning how to achieve success without all the tools. It's like riding, we're riding in the Tour de France, but our brakes are stuck halfway on and we're still keeping up. So we're developing a skill set that when those brakes come off, we're going to know how to do things that frankly, even, alcohol and tobacco and some of the other big players are not going to have experience with. They're not used to these kinds of frictions and regulations and things like that in quite the same way. And we will be, which I think will be part of the value that we create, and one of the ways that we can kind of hold on to the industry as we like it, even as change continues to happen.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. The brakes are on, because it does feel like that from time to time. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back with this industry, but we all know the direction it's going. And you're absolutely right. If you can survive in this climate and thrive in this climate, when things kind of start to open up, and whatever that looks like, it's a massive opportunity in front of you. Other kind of celebrity-ish, I would say, is your collab line that you've done, like Jenny Lewis, musician, and Legion of Bloom, another producer, right? Legion of Bloom, is that right? Another grower?
Legion of Bloom's actually a brand. We have a minority investment in it, so it's slightly different category. The Jenny Lewis one is right up the alley of what you're talking about. I'm a music fan. I wish I could make it. I can't, and I would never subject anyone to me trying to, but I really enjoy it, and I think that cannabis and music is such an amazing combination that anywhere we can put that together, we love it. Jenny Lewis was a really fun artist to work with, and people really loved it. Right? It was actually fun to watch because I think it was, in some ways, the ideal collaboration. Right? Like people who had no idea who Glass House was, found us because they love Jenny Lewis, right? And I mean, I'm talking rabid, like calling up and trying to buy is up to their daily limit of the products because they loved it so much. And then conversely, we had a bunch of people who had no idea who Jenny Lewis was, but knew Glass House, and they're like, oh, well, I want to try that. Who is that? I'm going to listen to her music. And, we actually did that collaboration was a part of an album release. And, and we worked with Jenny, and we didn't have time to like develop a strain from scratch. But one of the things we did is we brought a whole bunch of the menu that we have and, different strains and things like that. And she tried them all and went with the approach of like, if, as you're making music, you're thinking what instrument's the right feeling for this, right? Does this sound portray the emotion I'm trying to get across to the audience? But do that with cannabis, right? So which strain here matches your feeling of this song as Down the Rabbit Hole, I think it was. And so she picked them all, and she's like, if the cannabis was the instrument, this is the instrument that I'd put with this track, which is a fun way, I think, to think of it. And so a bunch of people who liked Glass House went out and, started listening to Jenny Lewis's album, and then, smoked the joint, listened to the song, connected on a whole different level with the artist in terms of transmitting that emotion. And I thought it was, kind of a pretty cool way to approach it.
It's such a cool way. I've seen some brands do like playlists where, they don't work with a single artist, but they'll say, okay, when you try this strain, listen to this playlist. But to work directly with the artist and have the artist say, okay, when I was thinking about this song, this is the pairing almost as an instrument. That's huge. And I can see how that'd be really beneficial for Glass House to build an audience, right? And bring over Jenny Lewis fans because it's your flower, right? It's Glass House flower. And so they can jump into the other brands in the portfolio, whether it's the Glass House brand or Forbidden Flowers brand or what have you. So are you thinking about doing more of those, or is that a one-off kind of experience?
No, we certainly would like to do more. I mean, we've done some other cool stuff, music related. We did Glass House Fest for 420 this year, which was really fun, and actually won a marketing award for NCIA as the best marketing for 420, which was certainly an honor and a testament to our marketing and engagement teams, where we did, at the time, we were still, pretty just coming out of the pandemic, let's say, but it was not a get together and party quite yet. So we had a very small venue, all COVID safe, and then live streamed the whole thing for the people who couldn't be there, which we had a great audience show up. Really, Flying Lotus came and played, one of my favorite artists. And a bunch of comedians, and we did it with Jam in the Van, which has a big Instagram presence, and it was really fun because of course people were everyone was smoking and everyone was enjoying the music, and Duckworth was there and Black was there, and it was like it was awesome, and B, it was awesome on top of 14 months of zero awesomeness. And so I think it really stood out even more, and again, just such a reminder that music and cannabis are perfect, peanut butter and chocolate for each other.
Thanks for joining CPG, the Cannabis Packaged Goods Podcast. For more information on Headset, visit headset.io.